The calm before the shock, the alien fleet moved in perfect order through the quiet edge of the galaxy. Their ships were sharp, bright, and clean, built to show power and control. This fleet had won many wars, and no enemy had ever stood before. If alone to them, this patrol was routine, almost boring, like watching empty space breathe. The fleet commander, High Admiral watched the stars from his command seat. His many eyes showed no fear, only patience and pride. This region was known as weak space, filled with young species and broken empires. Humans lived somewhere nearby, but no one took them seriously. Humans were listed as loud, emotional, and divided. They fought among themselves more than they fought others. Their ships were said to be outdated, their weapons slow, their reach small. Most alien empires believed humans would destroy themselves. One day, nothing to report, said a navigation officer. Scans are clean, no threats detected. Another voice added. The fleet continued forward, engines glowing softly. Silence ruled the command deck, broken only by calm system sounds. Then a junior sensor officer paused. His body stiffened as he looked again at his screen. "Admiral," he said slowly, "there is something here." The room shifted, not in sound, but in attention. "What kind of ship?" Korath asked. Without turning, the officer swallowed before replying. "It does not match any known design," he said. "It is very large." The Admiral finally turned, his interest waking. Unknown ships were rare, but not impossible. "Show it on the main display," he ordered. The stars moved aside as the image filled the screen. At first, it looked like a shadow, a long shape, dark and still, hanging in space. No bright lights, no glowing symbols, no active signals. It was not drifting, yet it did not move. "Is it damaged?" one officer asked. "No energy leaks, no distress call," the sensor officer replied. "It is fully powered, but quiet, too quiet." The ship did not shine like alien vessels did. Its surface looked rough, thick, and scarred, like it had been hit many times and survived every strike. This was not a ship made to impress. "What species?" the Admiral asked. The science officer checked the data again and again. "The shape matches human construction logic," he said carefully, "but the size does not." A low sound passed through the command deck, confusion mixed with disbelief. Humans were not supposed to build ships like this. Humans were not supposed to build ships at all. "Open a channel," Korath said, calm but alert. No response. The officer replied. No warning, no greeting, no movement. The ship simply remained there. Watching, minutes passed, each one heavier than the last. The fleet slowed without being ordered to do so. Weapons systems remained idle, yet crews felt uneasy. Something about the silence pressed against their thoughts. Then, slowly, the human ship turned, not fast, not aggressive, just enough to face the fleet. Its size became clearer, its mass undeniable. "This was not a patrol ship. This design," whispered the science officer. "It is built like a fortress. Layered armor, deep hull lines, hidden weapon ports. Everything about it spoke of long war." The Admiral felt something he had not felt in decades. Not fear, but caution. The kind that comes before storms and disasters. The kind that saves lives. "Hold formation," Korath ordered quietly. No one argued, no one moved. Across the fleet, engines dimmed, voices fell silent. Every eye stayed locked on the dark human ship. Somewhere in the vast black of space, history was about to change. And none of them knew that this moment would be remembered forever. The first look at the human warship, the human ship stayed silent as the alien fleet watched. No signal came from it, no warning lights, no signs of damage. It simply waited in the dark, like a hunter that did not need to rush. High Admiral Korath raised one claw slowly. "Magnify the image," he ordered. The main screen zoomed in, layer by layer, and with every second, the mood on the command deck changed. The ship was massive, far larger than any human vessel on record. Its shape was long and heavy, with no smooth curves. Every line looked sharp, strong, and purposeful. This was not beauty. This was function. Alien ships were designed to shine. Their hulls reflected light. Their colors showed rank and power. But this ship absorbed light. It looked dark, thick, and cold. The armor plates were deep and layered. Some parts showed scars, long marks burned into the metal. These were not factory lines. These were wounds. "It has been in battle," said the science officer softly. "And it survived." Another added. The silence on the deck grew heavier. Sensors moved across the ship, trying to read its systems. But the results made no sense. Power levels were high, but hidden. Weapons were present, but not exposed. It is like the ship is hiding its teeth, one officer said. The phrase spread unease through the room. Korath leaned forward, studying the design. There were no weak points visible, no glowing engines to target, no clear bridge or command tower. Where is its control center? The Admiral asked. We cannot find it, the sensor officer replied. It may be buried deep inside, protected by armor upon armor. That idea disturbed the fleet officers. Most ships protected their crews, but this design suggested something more, as if the ship itself was meant to take pain first. And data analysts pulled up old human records. Human wars were violent, short, and personal. They lost ships often, but they learned fast. Humans adapt after every loss, the analyst said. They rebuild stronger each time. The Admiral said nothing, but he listened. The image zoomed further. Small openings appeared along the hull. Weapon ports, hidden until needed, not raised in threat, but ready. This ship was not made to warn enemies, the science officer said. It was made to end fights. That sentence stayed in the air, cold and sharp. Across the fleet, whispers began. Crew members shared uneasy looks. This ship did not behave like others. It did not demand attention. Instead, it ignored them, as if the fleet was not worth its effort. Confirm the species, Korath ordered again. The computer returned the same answer. Human origin, no doubt. That result shocked many officers. Humans were known for chaos, yet this ship showed control, patience, and discipline, traits learned only through long suffering. Suddenly, a low signal appeared. Not a message, not a threat, just a short pulse, like a heartbeat. It is scanning us, the sensor officer said, but slowly, not rushed, not desperate, careful. The fleet felt exposed. Their weapons were ready, but no locks were made. The human ship still did not raise shields. It did not need to. High Admiral Korath felt a deep unease. This was not the fear of attack. It was the fear of being understood, of being measured. Hold all actions, he ordered. No firing, no signals. The fleet obeyed instantly. For the first time in many cycles, the strongest fleet in this region waited, and the dark human warship continued to watch them in silence. The fleet froze in terror. The short pulse from the human ship faded. Space returned to silence, but the feeling did not. Every officer on the command deck felt it, a quiet pressure, heavy and cold. Rapport system status. High, Admiral ordered. His voice was steady, but his eyes stayed on the screen. The answer came too slowly. Minor fluctuations across the fleet, said the tech officer. Nothing critical, but systems are reacting. That word caused unease. Navigation lights flickered for a moment. Targeting screens reset without command. Data streams slowed, then returned, as if something had touched them and let go. It did not attack, the science officer said. It tested us. No one argued. Weapons officers tried to lock targets, but the systems refused to respond. Not broken, not jammed, just delayed. Weapon locks are unstable, one officer said. We can fire, but accuracy is uncertain. That had never happened before. Across the fleet, similar reports arrived. Small errors, small delays, nothing enough to cause damage, enough to fear. Korath felt his claws tighten. A real battle was loud and fast. This was quiet, slow, and controlled. That made it worse. Pull historical data, the Admiral ordered. Search for this design. The archives opened, scanning. Old wars and lost records. Then the history officer froze. I have a match, he said quietly. Only one. The image appeared on the side screen. A damaged alien cruiser, torn apart. The wreck floated in dead space. No life signs recorded. This battle happened long ago. The officer continued. A joint fleet entered unknown space. They encountered a single human warship. The room went silent. What was the outcome? Korath asked. No one liked the answer. The human ship was damaged, but it did not retreat. The entire fleet was destroyed. Fear moved through the command deck like cold air. Not panic, but shock. That battle had been marked as an accident. The human ship's design had been hidden. This shape, the science officer whispered. It maches the scars, the armor, the layout. Korath felt something rare, uncertainty. The fleet was stronger now, larger, more advanced. But the human ship had not changed its behavior. It does not see us as a threat, one officer said. Or it does, another replied. And that is worse. Outside, the human ship moved again, slowly, carefully. Energy readings shifted across its hull, not rising, just adjusting. Shields are still down, the sensor officer said. Why would it do that? No answer came. The fleet crews waited for orders, hands ready at controls, hearts beating faster than normal. Fear held in check by discipline. Then, a new signal appeared. This one stronger, clearer, not an attack, a warning. Systems are losing sync, the tech officer said. Our network is being mapped, not hacked. They are learning us, the science officer said. Every ship, every pattern, they are taking their time. Koroth realized the truth then. This was not a battle moment. This was the moment before a battle, when one side already knew it would win. Cease all targeting attempts, he ordered. Maintain silence. The fleet obeyed without question. Across thousands of ships, crews held their breath. No one moved, no one spoke. The fleet had frozen, facing a single human warship, built from loss, war, and hard lessons. And for the first time in their long history, the strongest fleet in the sector waited in terror. When humans finally spoke, the silence broke without warning. A clear signal moved through the fleet systems. Not strong, not aggressive, just precise. Incoming transmission, the sensor officer said. All channels, direct and open. High Admiral Koroth lifted his head. Play it, he ordered. The voice that came through was calm. No anger, no pride, no fear. It spoke in simple words, slow and clear. This is Captain Elias Ward of the Human Defense Fleet. You are blocking a human travel route. Move aside. That was all. No threats, no countdown, no demand for surrender, just a statement of fact. The command deck stayed silent. Officers looked at one another in disbelief. This was not how powerful fleets spoke. This was not how weak species warned others. Replay the message, Koroth said. The same words echoed again, unchanged. The voice carried confidence, not loud confidence, the quiet kind, the kind that did not need to explain itself. They are not asking permission, the science officer said. They are stating reality. That thought settled heavily over the room. Alien fleets usually spoke with long messages. They listed titles, ranks, and past victories. They used fear as a weapon. Humans did none of that. The human ship still did not raise shields. Weapons remained hidden. It stayed perfectly still, as if waiting was effortless. Open a response channel, Koroth ordered. The officer hesitated, then obeyed. This is High Admiral Koroth, the alien commander said. You are entering restricted space. Identify your purpose. There was a short pause, not delay, consideration. Our purpose is passage. The human captain replied. No conflict is needed, but we will not change course. Again, no anger, no challenge, just certainty. Koroth felt something tighten in his chest. The human captain spoke like someone who had already decided the outcome, like someone who had seen this moment before. Why only one ship? An officer whispered. Before Koroth could stop him, the human captain answered, as if he had heard the question. One is enough. That single line struck harder than any weapon. Across the fleet, officers felt it. A simple truth spoken without pride. Sensor readings changed again. The human ship adjusted position slightly. Not aggressive, just ready. They are not preparing to attack, the weapons officer said. They are preparing to continue. That was worse. The science officer leaned closer to the screen. Notice their discipline, he said. No wasted movement, no emotional response. This ship is part of a larger system, he continued. A doctrine, a way of war. The human captain spoke one last time. We will wait 60 seconds. After that, we move forward. The channel closed. Clean and final. No countdown appeared. No warning lights flashed. The human ship simply waited. High Admiral Koroth looked across the command deck, at officers who had fought dozens of wars, at crews who had never known defeat. For the first time, they were not deciding how to win. They were deciding how to survive. Outside, the dark human warship held its course, silent, patient, certain, and as the seconds passed, the alien fleet understood a terrible truth. Humans did not speak to threaten. They spoke only when the decision was already made. Why humans build warships like this? As the 60 seconds passed, the alien command deck filled with quiet tension. No alarms sounded, no weapons fired, yet fear sat heavy in every mind. The science officer broke the silence. There is something you should see, he said. He brought old data onto the main screen. Human history, long ignored. At first, it looked simple. Records of early human space travel. Small ships, weak armor, short range, nothing impressive. But then the losses appeared. Destroyed colonies, burned ships, lost crews. Names and numbers filled the screen. Too many. Humans lost again and again, the officer explained. They fought stronger enemies, they fought smarter enemies, and they lost badly. The fleet officers listened. This was not the story they were taught. Other species stop after such losses. The analyst continued. They accept limits. Humans do not. The data shifted. New ship designs appeared, each one heavier than the last. Each one slower, but stronger. Humans learned a hard lesson, the science officer said. Speed fails. Beauty fails. Only survival matters. Images showed damaged human ships returning home, broken but moving, crews alive inside twisted metal. Learning from pain, they do not build ships to win battles. They build ships to finish wars. That sentence made the room colder. The human warship outside matched the pattern. Layered armor, hidden systems, deep internal structure. This ship is not made to scare enemies, the analyst said. It is made to still be flying when everything else is gone. High Admiral Koroth stared at the screen. He understood now. Every scar on that ship was a lesson. Every silent system a choice. They expect to be hit, he said slowly. They expect to suffer, and they plan to endure. The science officer nodded. Humans believe war is chaos, so they remove chaos from their side. They prepare for the worst. Outside, the human ship began to move forward. Not fast, not aggressive, just steady. No weapons charge detected, the sensor officer said. They are not attacking, they are advancing. That terrified the fleet more than any threat. A ship that moves without anger, without fear, without doubt. This design tells a story, the science officer continued. It says humans expect betrayal. It says they expect loss. And it says they will still stand. Koroth felt a deep respect form inside him, mixed with fear. This was not a reckless species. This was a wounded one, a species that remembered every defeat and refused to repeat it. The human ship closed the distance slowly, still silent, still calm, like a wall moving forward. The alien fleet had one truth now. This warship was not alone, even if no other human ships were visible. It carried all of humanity's past wars with it. Every loss, every lesson, every promise to never fall the same way again. And in that moment, High Admiral Koroth understood something terrifying. Humans did not fear war. They had already survived it. The fleet's final decision, the human warship moved steadily through space. The alien fleet held its formation, engines glowing dimly, weapons idle. Every crew member watched in tense silence. High Admiral Koroth looked across the command deck. At thousands of eyes fixed on the dark shape ahead, he felt the weight of the choice before him. A single decision that could decide the fate of his entire fleet. The human captain had spoken once, with calm certainty. That was all he needed. No arrogance, no threats, no shouting. And now the human ship continued its path. Steady, unyielding, like a shadow that could not be moved. Koroth called his officers together. Report, he demanded. Are we ready to fire? Weapons officers shook their heads slowly. No, Admiral, one said. Our systems will not lock. Another added. Even if we fire, we cannot ensure success, a third whispered. The Admiral's claws tightened around the console. He realized the truth. This was not a battle he could win. Not because the enemy was fast or numerous, but because it was prepared in a way he could not match. Very well, Koroth said, voice low. Stand down, let the humans pass. Across the fleet, engines adjusted, weapons cooled, orders flowed silently through every ship. No shots were fired, no alarms sounded. The human warship glided past the fleet. Not a single weapon raised, no explosions, no destruction, only presence, quiet and absolute. High Admiral Koroth felt a strange mix of relief and awe. This was not defeat in the usual sense. It was a lesson, a reminder that true power sometimes spoke without noise. Record this moment, he said softly. Let it be known in history. The fleets had frozen, but the humans had not moved in anger. They had moved in certainty. As the human ship disappeared into the distance, the alien fleet began to move again, but no one celebrated. No one cheered. Respect and fear were stronger than any victory. The science officer leaned close to the Admiral. They do not seek war, he said quietly. They prepare for it. They endure it. and when it is necessary, they finish it. Korath nodded slowly. He understood now. The human strength was not in firepower alone. It was in patience, in discipline, in survival, and in that quiet, distant corridor of space. Every fleet commander remembered one thing clearly. Humans do not start wars lightly, but war fears humans. The human warship had passed, but its shadow remained, a shadow that would change the galaxy forever. And for the first time, the alien fleet knew, no enemy could underestimate humanity again.